Hey everyone, welcome to the Your Fielder's Choice MLB pre-lock live stream. I'm your host Devin, joined by Pete. How you doing today, Pete?
What's up, guys? Ready for? I guess this is considered week 2, right? MLB week and a half, but
Yeah, we'll call it week two.
we've been doing well. It was we crushed this weekend actually. Got the right cash plays. GBP's crushed, so we're off to a really good start. Our Discord, we actually did a Discord live Saturday and Sunday, right? Yeah, and we did some lineup building, construction, did really well there. So we're off to a really good start. So
Yeah, it's been typically baseball can be a little bit wacky to start, and we've seen that a little bit. But for the most part, games have gone according to script. I've been really pleased about that. So, hoping with COVID kind of getting to the point where it's not as big of a deal. Hopefully this year be a little more predictable like it has in years past. I love baseball because it's such a stats heavy sport. I really like stats, so love when the stats come through. So that always makes me happy. So yeah, it's been a fantastic year. Before we jump into tonight's slate, I do want to mention a few things. We are running a baseball promo, $35 a month for your first 6 months. So $35 a month for your first 6 months, and then it jumps to the full price of $50 a month. Uh, Listen, that price is insane. If you're not signed up, sign up. That's you won't find anything even close to that. I mean, we do articles, we do live shows, we do projected ownership, we do projections. Not only that, but we have where you can copy and paste that easily into your favorite optimizer. Uh, I know for a fact there are other sites that are selling baseball, just baseball for $60 a month. We are giving you everything, every sport. Uh, Esports will be coming from us as well here shortly. AFL, KBO, everything. $35. Won't beat it. Promise you that. Jump on that deal. Take advantage of it. We'll make you some money this summer. It's gonna be a great summer. Um, and then yeah, I mean that's the big thing here. So take advantage, join that. Let's jump right into the slate, man. Let's start. We got any weather we need to worry about tonight?
yeah, actually, just to piggyback what you just said, as you were talking, I was looking in the winning lineup room, and it's crazy the winning lineups we have with rugby, KBO's tomorrow, tennis. So yeah, you're not gonna get that deal anywhere. So sign up. Okay, weather. So actually, weather tonight is fairly good. There's nothing to worry about across the country. We do have wind blowing in Wrigley, which is probably going to be the best hitting weather to slate. So that's why you're going to see some chalk and some ownership levels jump up in that Wrigley game, Milwaukee, Chicago. Temps are in the 60s with the wind blowing out the left center. It's like 9 miles an hour. So that's pretty much weather. Vegas, we did see a jump though. The Angels are now the implied leader right now at 5.2. They're the only team above implied 5 runs. So that's kind of interesting. I noticed. I mean, they are playing without Otani. I noticed Danny just mentioned in the chat room asking about Otani, but he's obviously not playing tonight. So that's interesting. And we got the Cubs 4-9, Astros 4-9. Who I like the Astros a lot tonight. Rays 4-8, Red Sox 4-8. Anybody else is pretty much dropping down to 4-4. There's a few teams at 4-2, but I'm just really curious about the Angels tonight at 5-2. That's my
Yep,
that's our quick
we got
Vegas.
the Dodgers at 4-8 as well. Milwaukee at 4-7. So yeah, a little surprising to see the Angels that high. I was surprised when I saw them at 5-2, especially with no Otani. But it's a good lineup, so I suppose it makes a little bit of sense. So let's go ahead and start with some pitching. When we were first looking at it this morning and talking about it, we were a little unsure about starting pitcher two. We had a feeling, but thought it was going to end up being really important. Well, now as the day's gone on, everybody's kind of gone where we were thinking, and it's really looking like it's going to be a pretty chalky day at pitcher with DeGrom and Rodon.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed in this short season, we've already four games, whatever. The studs, the guys like DeGrom, you're going to see probably 100 pitches. So if you have an ace, you want to use them. And these early slates, lots of short outings by the middle middle range starters. You know, lots of them getting like 75 to 85. Like they pulled out Barrios in a no hitter with 85 pitches. And then these lower guys, the lower level starters, I'm seeing these guys only get like 65 pitches. So if you got a big arm like DeGrom on the slate, and you got, especially tonight, you got to use him no matter what his price is. I mean, he is definitely by far the class of the slate tonight. So DeGrom's going to be very high owned. He deserves it. He's chalk. You're going to see him throwing that fastball over 100 miles an hour all night tonight. And I imagine he's going to see 100 pitches after the extra rest he had, because they haven't played. Wait, they haven't played yet, have they?
No,
Since
they have
the
not.
COVID thing.
Yep.
So he's got a nice rest. And to me, there's two other pitchers for cash. Looks like Rodon is really catching ownership now. I mean, last year we all know. I mean, the kid's got all the talent in the world. We've been waiting for for the talent to come up, and it's finally. It looks like he had a great
Yeah, it's
spring.
been years.
It's been a few years, right? But his
Yeah,
spring, his K to walk ratio was 16-1 in the spring training. 16 strikeouts to 1 walk. Pitchers Park, Seattle's weak lineup. I was on Rodon since this morning, and I was seeing a lot of people on Dustin May. What's your thoughts on Dustin May? I do see him on FanDuel a little bit cheaper, and I know some people are going to May, but what do you think about May today?
Yeah, so he comes in at 6.8 on FanDuel, which is a nice price. He's 88 on DraftKings. That's too expensive. You can't pay that. And DeGrom, you're gonna really be hurting with your bats if you do that. I still lean Rodon because the K rate he's up to 27.3. So what we do with our cheat sheet, which actually nobody else does, this is a really big thing for me, really important when I build it, is I take the opposing lineup, their actual numbers, not just the team numbers. Most people just do like the team numbers. So Seattle as a team strikes out at blah, blah, blah percent or whatever. I'll take that team's final lineup. So the left versus lefty, righty, blah, blah, blah. And that all factors into the pitcher stats that you see on the website and the opposing team stats. So when you see the Rodon 27.3 K rate, that is against Seattle's lineup, taking into account how many righties, how many lefties they have, all those individuals' K rates. So he comes in at 27.3, whereas Dustin May comes in at 19. A couple hundred extra dollars less. The Vegas totals for the opposing teams are essentially the same. Plus, we know LA tends to pull starters if they need to. They can be pretty quick triggered. So I just think Carlos Rodon makes a ton of sense. Even on FanDuel, if you don't want to pay for DeGrom, which I think would be a mistake, he's going to be chalk. But if you don't, I think it's Carlos Rodon.
And once again, this is a pretty crappy pitching slate. So I mean, we're pumping Rodon a little bit, but he's not at the level of a DeGrom. I mean, Rodon, he's not at the level of DeGrom. Some of the other guys, he's good. He's good for the slate tonight. But once again, SP2 is tough. GPP, I'm kind of making a bold call a little bit. One guy I'm kind of on is Nick Pivetta for Boston. You did see his velocity did increase last year at the end of the year. And we know Tampa Bay, if you look up and down their lineup, this lineup is full of strikeouts. And that's been a problem for Tampa Bay for a while. These guys like even Meadows, 32%, Arozarena, 29%, Brandon Lau, 27%, Willie Diamond, 37%, even Zanino, over 40%. So all against right-handed pitchers. So GPP, I'm not saying don't make cash, but I do like Nick Pivetta tonight. If you're doing that, I'd obviously hedge Tampa though too in some GPP stacks because Tampa's going to be popular. But don't sleep on Pivetta tonight for GPP, especially if you're multi-entering.
Yep, and that's where, again, you look at that cheat sheet. If you look at the pitcher tab, opponent data, K percent, you'll see that Tampa Bay does have the highest, 28.34% against righties. Again, that's taking into account Tampa Bay's actual lineup against right-handers. So they do strike out at the highest clip on the slate. So anytime you see that, it makes for a nice GPP play, especially when Pavetta's got decent numbers, 20% K rate. So yeah, I like that as a GPP call for sure.
Beside DeGrom, you're not going to see very many people going past 5 or 6. If anything, I've actually seen a little bit this year already. I saw the showdown last night. I'm seeing more relievers being used. These 4K relievers. So just keep that in the back. I'm not saying tonight's the night to use it, but I haven't seen it used already this season.
Yeah. All right. Anything else at pitcher?
Nah, that's it.
All right. Let's move over to catcher and first base. Where are you leaning here for each site?
All right, so catcher, I'm going back and forth in a couple positions. The catcher's one of them. For cash, actually both on DK and Fan. Well, FanDuel I don't usually play catcher unless it's somebody that's out of the ordinary. So I'm not playing a catcher in FanDuel tonight. But if you're doing a pay up tonight, I like Contreras. I had my article. He's leading off, but he's not leading off, is he? He's batting second, which is still in a good spot.
Yep, still great spot.
Brady versus lefty, going against Brett Anderson. I like Contreras. So I've always been a Contreras guy. We got to let me projected Woba to 270s. ISO is low. If I'm gonna go up, I'm going to Contreras. But then there's a whole bunch of guys. I really like Buster Posey in the middle range, probably over GBP. Him and James McCann, both of them. McCann hits lefties. Posey's had 2 home runs start the season. Like GBP, like Maldonado. But I guess if I'm probably going to want to pay up at some of these other positions, if I don't go Contreras high for cash, I guess the play is going to have to be is we call him a kid. He's not a kid. He's like 30 years old. Is the Yerman Mercedes for the White Sox? The guy's totally on fire right now, and I imagine he's going to be higher owned. His price went up to 3K, which was he was like 2.2 over the weekend, but I still think he's low enough where he's probably going to be the chalky play and probably the way to go today at catcher if you're building cash lineups.
Yeah, and actually that lineup just came out just a few minutes ago once we started. He's actually batting 5th too, so that's really nice. He's moved up in the order. He's actually only 2K on FanDuel, so he's very intriguing there as well, especially batting. It's only 1 spot higher in the order than projected, but still, that makes a difference. You really want that top 5 range for your cash lineups, especially. So yeah, he makes a lot of sense. There are some other options. Omar Narvaez,
there you
coming
go.
in at 2.9 for 100 less.
That's a pivot for GBP, really.
He's batting 7th, so I just think Mercedes batting 5th. I mean, the total is a little bit lower than Milwaukee's, but it makes a ton of sense, especially with him moving up in the order a little bit.
Yep. But that Narvaez would be the GBP pivot. It was because Mercedes is going to be so high owned. That's where I would go if I was making more than one lineup.
Yeah. And then what are you thinking here at first? We actually have a lot of options here at first as well.
Yeah, when I was doing my write-up before, I mean, of course, we all love Jose Abreu against lefties. He's got a lefty tonight in Sheffield. You have to pay up for him. So for cash, I'm getting Jake Cronenworth in somewhere. I'm getting Cronenworth in either DK, he's first base or second base eligible. So in a perfect world, I would like to play Pete Alonso tonight. I mean, Alonso since 2019, 363 WOBA, 309 ISO. Matt Moore gives up fly balls, gives up home runs like crazy. He's back from Japan to give it another try here. I think Alonso is the play of the night at first base, personally, if I don't use Cronenworth. Jared Walsh came out that big game last night. He's going to be popular. He's really cheap on FanDuel. He's against Cronenworth's against Descaffolini. Jared Walsh is going to be popular, but I'm not on Walsh tonight. If anything, I'm going to run Alonso or Cronenworth at first. You know who's going to be very low on those? Muncy.
Yeah, Muncy's going to I don't think Dodgers are going to pull any ownership at all. They're very
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I like Walsh on FanDuel too. Very cheap. He's batting 2nd. LA, like we said, has the highest total on the board. I expect him to be pretty popular there. 2.2. Mercedes may draw some ownership at only 2K, batting 5th. Both make for solid plays on FanDuel, especially. Yoshi Tsutsugo. I actually practiced that before the show, so I didn't mess it up. My wife's probably in the other room laughing. He comes in at a nice price on both sites as well. He's batting 1st.
That's your punt.
Yep, so that's a nice play coming in at 2,900. I expect him to be pretty popular. Then we have Keston for Milwaukee, who is batting second. He does carry first base eligibility. Right now, we project him to be pretty high owned on both sites. What do you think there?
Yeah, I can never get Kester here right. And I am seeing that. I'm seeing on some sites he's one of the highest owned at first. He seems to struggle every year out of the gates. Great spot though tonight. I mean, he's against Williams in Wrigley. I don't like the righty on righty. I'm looking at. I mean, he's got 211 ISO last year against righties, going 291 WOBA. If I'm going to pay 4.4, I'm paying $300 more for Pete Alonso. So I'm not. This is the ones where I'm not going to be looking at chalk. I'm actually going to be looking at my brain and realize to me Alonso's the play against Matt Moore.
Like, see, Keston's tough because the numbers are there, the stats are there, the WOBA, the ISO are nice, but the sample size is small. And so much of that was when he first came into the league, he just tore it up for like 2 months straight. And then it just feels like he's never quite been that same player, hasn't quite been as consistent, sort of hit that, sophomore wall a bit. So the play makes sense. 4-4, though, feels a little bit aggressive for him here. But just he's probably going to see ownership, but I agree. I'm not sure I'm playing him on either site. I think there are some cheaper options that we can look at. So actually, let's go ahead and swing over to second base.
One more. Bellinger's FanDuel eligible at first, right? So he's always going to see ownership on FanDuel.
Yeah, he does carry first base eligibility over on FanDuel. Yep, he is. We've got him decently up on our cheat sheet. Potentially seeing some ownership. Yep. So he comes in at 4-1, which is actually pretty affordable. Trout, for instance, is 4-5, Yelich 4-3. So yeah, Bellinger absolutely in play over on FanDuel. So
one more name.
Over to
one more name, Flores. Yep. We can't forget about our lefty masher, Flores. Wilmer Flores tonight. He is going against Morjan.
Batting fifth.
If I'm making GBP lineups, he's actually in my first lineups. I'm going to be running him on Longoria. I love Longoria tonight too. So I'm not saying play Wilmer and Cash tonight. You probably can because I said he smashes lefties, but don't sleep on Flores tonight. But at the end of the day, to me, it's either Alonso or Cronenworth for me personally.
Yeah, my issue with Flores and Cash, I would definitely do GPP, is they actually pulled him pretty early the other day.
That's what they tend to do.
They actually kind of have a sneaky deep team. It's not loaded by any means. It's a lot of average guys, but they've got a lot of guys on the roster. So they've been fairly quick to, pull some guys. Like they got Tommy LaStella on their team who, isn't even starting. So he's a guy who's going to come in and pinch hit. So, all
right. I see they just came out too, the lineup, huh?
Yeah.
This got released. All right.
Yeah, that just came out as we were talking. So Flores batting fifth. Looking at second. See, second is actually where I'm really looking at Jake Cronenworth. Comes in at 3-4. That's a grand cheaper than Keston. Batting first for San Diego. I'm such a fan of this kid. I will give you all the credit in the world. He was your sneaky Pete play of the day for like a month straight last year. Nobody ever played him. His price never moved, and he just kept producing. He's been so good that a loaded San Diego team that's spending all kinds of money, he's batting leadoff for them. That's how good this kid is. He has a 4.5 WOBA, 264 ISO against righties. Those are fantastic numbers. Yep. Coming in at 3,400, I'm super high on him, right there with you.
And here I actually had him as a sneaky call today because I didn't think he was going to catch ownership tonight. But obviously he's not as sneaky as I thought. So yeah, to me, he just smokes righties. And everybody, remember when he first came up last year, everybody's like, well, there's not not a book on him yet. They don't know him. Well, there's a book on him now, and he's still hitting. So the kid can hit. So I'm all on him. He's either first or second for me, probably second. But there's a few guys. I mean, if you don't want to go Cronenworth, I think Altuve's in a good position, in a good environment tonight. In LA, he's got a 416 WOBA, 315 ISO against lefties, and then to me, Jose Quintana has turned into a gas can. Brandon Lowe is in play always against righties, and that's prevented tonight. Those two guys up top, or I guess to me, I would drop down if I'm not using Corona. I'll probably drop down to Kiki, who's still at 3-4. Where is Kiki batting tonight?
I believe Kiki's leading
off. So he is okay. He's leading off. I mean, right on ready against Waka, but there's other guys. Colton Wong, I think, is in a good spot tonight too. Wong is always cash liable, uh, especially in he's leading off tonight in Wrigley. So what's the ownership you've seen on him?
We have him currently projected as the third highest owned second baseman. Um, so he's up there. Keston, Kiki, Colton Wong are our top three at the position.
So what's Cronenworth? What's Cronenworth seeing?
Cronenworth is fifth, coming in lower owned, but that lineup came out not too much before we got on here, so I would expect him to climb a little bit. He may not. I That surprises me. Batting leadoff to me is huge at that price. But Boston does have a higher total, so Kiki coming in at a cheaper price. So I don't know. We're both just really high in Cronenworth. I really like that price spot in the order, and I like his stats a lot.
I think Kiki probably still not a player owned on the slate, but what's another name tonight is I think could be sneaky GPPs. David Bote for Chicago, righty going against Brett Anderson. I'm not an Anderson guy. We're expecting 9.5 runs scored in that game. That's a sneaky play too for GPPs.
Yep, he's batting sixth, not too bad. 2.4 on FanDuel is a nice price. Over on FanDuel, you'll have to decide. Keston's 2.9, same price as Cronenworth. It's not like on DraftKings where you're saving $1,000 with Cronenworth. That's one of the big reasons I'm on him there. Kiki comes in at 2.7. He should be fairly popular. And then, but Brandon Lowe is really mispriced here on FanDuel at 3.3. He's 4,800 on DraftKings, so that's one of those big pricing discrepancies between the two sites.
If I'm playing FanDuel, I'm locking Brandon Lowe in.
Yeah, that's very cheap. And even Altuve only comes in at 3.8. That's another pretty big pricing discrepancy. So second base actually has a lot of ways to go on FanDuel. That might be one of the spots I kind of wait to fill in, see where I land pricing wise, because there's a lot of options up and down that are pretty strong here.
I mean, you got Lowe's batting cleanup tonight too. They're in Boston. It's not the greatest hitting environment this time of year. If I'm going to play we got to talk about Meadows too. I guess that's what's making Tampa a decent stack, but it's not the greatest hitting environment. But man, I like Brandon Lowe batting cleanup against a righty.
Yeah, that's a really nice price. All right, you got anything else at second?
No, that's it.
All right, swinging over to third. What do you have here at third?
Third base to me is going to be one of the tougher positions. When I was rating up, I'm on Alex Bregman. I want to pick on Quintana tonight. He's mashed lefties in his career. Since 2019, this dude's got 440 WOBA, 331 ISO, 45.9 5 ball, and a 47.5 hard contact. To me, that's elite. I'm assuming Chris Bryant's going to catch a lot of the love tonight. This may be my value spot where I go to, like I was talking about with Flores before. I like Evan Longoria, who's looking like the old Longoria. He hits lefties. He's having, his entire career he's hit lefties, 426 WOBA, 326 ISO. That's elite numbers since 2019. May end up with Longoria. If not, though, it's going to be Alex Bregman. There's no, maybe on FanDuel we should go down to Yoshi. There's really nowhere you can go down really below on DK.
So on FanDuel, Chris Bryant comes in at 3.4. Devers comes in at 3.3. Bryant will probably be very chalky on FanDuel at that price. 3.4, that's a full 1,100 cheaper than Bregman over on FanDuel. So I expect Chris Bryant to be pretty chalky. He's projected to be pretty chalky on DraftKings too, but you've got a decision to make on DraftKings. You got Chris Bryant, Bregman, and Devers. All have elite numbers. WOBA's pushing 400 or higher. ISO's all over 200. You've even got Rendon in there. This is a loaded position at the top. So, yeah, there's some options here on the board. And your Flores and Longoria would be risky, but the stats do support it.
Is Flores third base eligible on DK?
Yes.
He's not popping up for me. He is.
Flores
okay.
And Longoria are.
I would lean Longo. I'm on Bregman. To me, I'm on Bregman. What's Bregman's cash ownership of
Bregman's
DK.
5-5 on DraftKings, projected as the second highest owned play behind Chris
Okay.
Bryant,
So it's Bryant. All
who's
right.
5-1.
I'm not a Bryant guy, but I understand why in the environment tonight.
I do want to circle back to the White Sox lineup came out as we were talking. Nick Madrigal is batting leadoff at 3-1, listed at second base on DraftKings. So that makes for another strong potential value play that you can add to the mix on DraftKings. He is 2-2 on FanDuel, also listed at second base. So expect him to pop on the cheat sheet when I make this final update. He is certainly a viable play.
Yeah, definitely. We used him a lot last year. A strong play, especially when he's leading off. I might use him when he's
Yep.
batting seventh and eighth.
Yep. So
So I see Andrew Vaughn is down to eighth. I was kind of on Vaughn. I don't like the spot he's in the order though.
yeah, that's a little too low. All right, let's swing over to shortstop. I know who you're really high on here is actually our highest projected play, Mr. Lindor, correct?
Yeah, I think DK definitely. I think he gets a little bit of discount plus a little extra. He's got a BVP against him. He's 8 for 13 career against Matt Moore. So I'm on Lindor. I'm assuming Baez is gonna be popular, but anything I've seen from Baez, especially in these days where the wind's blowing out and he gets up there swinging like crazy, to me he's more of a strikeout risk. So I'm on Lindor. GPP, of course, I got to talk about Timmy Anderson going against the lefty. He's a lefty masher. GPP though today. So to me, it's Lindor, Anderson, Baez.
Yeah, and I mean this is the Lindor debut. Just got that big contract. He's going to be playing with a little motivation. Um, show the Mets he's worth the investment. So that is a real thing. These guys care. These guys are people. So that's an extra little wrinkle in there. On FanDuel, it's a little bit more crowded. You've got Lindor, you've got Xander for 100 cheaper. I don't think people realize just how good that dude's numbers are and have been for years now. Got Tatis is just a couple hundred more. He's certainly in play always. And then we do have a punt at the position in Urias from Milwaukee, batting sixth, coming in at 2,100 on FanDuel and 27K on DraftKings.
I'm sorry. I was reading the information about. I forgot Timmy Anderson's out here. I'm touting Anderson. He's out tonight.
Oh yeah, Tim.
Yeah, that's right. So you got banged up yesterday. Who are you talking about on shortstop from Milwaukee? Urias?
Urias coming in batting sixth at 2.1K on FanDuel and 2.7 on DraftKings is another guy I think in play on third base and shortstop as a punt option.
Yeah, he's probably the value punt of both of them. If you don't go to Willie Adames on FanDuel, you don't realize how stacked this position is. We haven't even mentioned Fernando Tatis or Corey Seager. I mean, and both those guys are definitely in play. You can use any of them. I wouldn't even argue about them. So this position is really stacked.
Seager's LA is we were talking about before the show. Dodgers are like such a good GPP stack tonight. Nobody's going to play them because they're expensive. Corey Seager's just been absolutely mashing. So yeah, certainly like that play. And he comes in at just 4K. I mean, that's gettable over on FanDuel.
To me, it's Lindor. It's Lindor all the way. I'm all over him tonight. But Baez is probably going to catch a little bit of love.
All right, what do you? Let's swing over to outfield here. Pretty straightforward at the top play. Christian Yelich is running away with projected ownership on both sites. That wind blown out, 416 WOBA, over 300 ISO against lefties or against righties. Gets a very solid matchup, obviously. Will you be jamming in Yelich tonight?
Yeah, and that's what this is. I'm not in love with this slate because I think it's going to come down to like a lot of like 3v3s. So as I think everyone's going to have Yelich, everyone's going to have Austin Meadows as their second outfielder. He's only 4,400 DK with 3,500 FanDuel. He's had a couple home runs. He looks like the Austin Meadows from 2 years ago when he had the 367 WOBA, 250 ISO, high hard hit. So to me, it's gonna be who's your third outfielder, and there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of value plays. I'm not even sure where I'm gonna go, but I think it's Meadows, Yelich, and then it's a free for all with a bunch of good plays.
I think you've got this logjam in the 3K range. You've got Kiki, who does carry eligibility. You've got Abisail Garcia coming in at 3-1, batting cleanup in that Milwaukee game. I think that's probably going to end up being a
Chalk.
pretty chalky play. I think it's probably going to be Yelich, Garcia, and probably Meadows is going to be your three outfielders. If you don't want to, have too much exposure to Milwaukee, Kiki's there. Kevin Pillar's batting leadoff at 3-4. You mentioned Mitch Haniger in the write up. Still only 3-2. He probably won't see ownership because of the Rodon play.
He's Rodon.
Yeah, we'll probably play him, which will take them off Haniger. Even Jared
Conforto.
Walsh, technically 3-9 carries outfield eligibility.
Conforto's one of my favorite plays in the reverse splits. I mean, he hit lefties well last year. I thought he was going to be a low owned, but his name is starting to pop when I'm looking around here. Conforto was going to be my third out. He still might be my third outfielder, but he's not going to be as sneaky as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, Conforto comes in there, 4,200. So, potential pivot off of Meadows if you're 200 short or whatnot. He's certainly in play as well. And then, of course, Trout, Bellinger, Mookie, these guys are all in play. They're the best of the best, so certainly in play. What do you think? I know you mentioned before we went on that you were pretty high on Jake Marisnick. I'm not sure we need him anymore, but you still like him?
Yeah, I actually like Marisnick quite a bit. What's his price? I didn't.
He's 2.6 and 2.1 on FanDuel.
And even, I mean, he's playing. He's playing. He's playing a hitting environment. I mean, I thought he was going to be really sneaky today, especially. I mean, in his position. But I'm seeing. What do you have for his ownership? Do you have ownership? Do you have anything high for him?
Yeah, he's coming in as the top punt on the board, but still pretty low owned.
I mean, you're going against a guy like Brett Anderson who doesn't strike people out. He's got a hard contact rate. I mean, I was looking at, especially for the price. I figured it could get me anybody I wanted to. I didn't think it was gonna be that low. Yeah, I'm still on him. If I'm gonna be that low, I'm probably gonna go to Marisnick over a guy. Well, of course we can't go to, like I said, he can't go to Haniger. Kevin, yeah, that's his Pilar's 3-4. Yeah, but I'm not sure if we're really going to need him. Ian Happ's going to see some ownership here tonight too, I believe, especially on. I mean, he's second base eligible on FanDuel.
His FanDuel price is outrageous at 2.8. He should be pretty
dirt
popular.
Minimum, yeah.
Yeah, he should be pretty popular on FanDuel. We project him as the fourth highest owned outfielder on FanDuel. Jared Walsh coming in at 2.2 does carry outfield eligibility as well on FanDuel, I believe. So we have him up there as well. Expect Walsh to be popular on FanDuel. That price is crazy. Let me see what Walsh's eligibility is.
What scares me is I'm not talking down Walsh. I feel like he's more of the hot play because of his game last night. Especially the only game on last night and all of that. But that Walsh did coming into the home run tonight. So that's what kind of worries me a little bit too for Walsh. So.
Well, he's showing as a 23.2 average FanDuel points because he didn't start that first day. Second day he scored 22. Yesterday he scored 47. So, right or wrong at 2,200, he's going to come in pretty high on, and he is first base only on FanDuel. So that actually means Hap's even higher up. You got Yelich, Trout as your pay up options on FanDuel. Meadows is pretty nicely priced on FanDuel as well at 3.5. Hap 2.8. Avisail Garcia coming in at 2.4. Pilar 2.5. So a lot of the same guys we talked about on DraftKings are also very, very much in play here on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's nice because the slates both start at the same time. So you may see a couple different. Justin Upton, I noticed he's a sneaky play on FanDuel. He's only 2.6 GPP, but JD Davis. Where's JD Davis bad tonight? He's cheap on FanDuel too.
JD Davis is batting fifth, so that is a solid spot.
Yeah,
2,400 is a nice
only
price.
2,400.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'd
absolutely.
rather play JD Davis than I would Abigail Garcia personally if I was playing FanDuel. But
And he does carry third base and outfield eligibility
a good
on
spot.
FanDuel. So, yep. And I was just tinkering while we were talking with some DraftKings builds. I really like the Nick Madrigal play at second base, so which moved me to Cronenworth at first. Um, and a lot of the plays we talked about, you can easily get them in here. With most of the guys, well, with all the guys, we were really hyping at every position.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think it's gonna come down to pretty much a 3v3. Everybody's gonna have the same pitchers in cash. It's gonna be who you gonna play at first. Who's gonna be a third outfielder?
Yeah, outfield's going to be even outfield's probably going to be fairly chalky. Lindor will probably be pretty chalky. So yeah, it's probably going to come down to that middle. Your catcher first, second, third probably is what's going to dictate you tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right because I think Garcia is going to be the chalk play. I'm looking all over the place. Madrigal's popping right now, big time at second.
Yeah,
Um,
he makes a lot of sense at that price, coming in at
I,
just
I
3,100.
I struggle with Bryant Baez together in my cash lineup. They're just short, but they're popping. I don't know. I'd rather go, to me it's Lindor. I'd rather go Bregman and Lindor. But you know you gotta watch Stoner. Should be a guy like Chris Bryant gets a home run tonight, and he's 40% owned. You can't get burned either. So just know Bryant and Baez are gonna be high owned.
Yep. So
Jackie
go
Bradley,
ahead.
FanDuel. That's another name. Bradley's cheap on FanDuel too, right?
Yeah, JBJ. I just call him. Where's he at? Yeah, he's batting fifth, which is nice. He comes in at 2,300, so he's actually 100
Yeah.
cheaper than Avasale. So yeah, there are probably a little more choices to make on FanDuel. DraftKings is pretty straightforward here. FanDuel is going to be about two or three choices at every position. Ownership wise is going to show that as well. That you're really going to have to, figure out what direction you want to go with. If you haven't used the cheat sheet, I've got a minute here for cash games. Projected ownership chalk, especially in these major sports, it kind of dictates things. It is what it is. Um, you're going to want to eat chalk for the most part, but baseball is a sport where I know Pete and I both are a little more willing to take a few risks here and there. Eat the chalk that's in great spots. That's going to be great. Like don't fade DeGrom in cash tonight. There's no reason for it. He's a great play. It's going to be chalk. That's an easy play. Stuff like that. Don't overthink that. So, but cheat sheet's going
Right.
to show you projected ownership, and I'm going to update that one more time when we jump off here.
All right, I think that's it.
Well,
Who's
I
your top?
guess
Who's your
real
top
quick,
stack?
um, I think either LA team is going to come in at probably lower ownership than they should be. Even the Angels on DraftKings are going to come in at pretty low owned. So I certainly like that.
Look at the Ast.
Uh,
Look at the Astros. I believe the Astros tonight might personally,
yeah, you could double
and I
stack
want
that
to get
game,
it.
really.
Yeah, definitely. Would like to run maybe a little giant stack against Morjon. Now, don't get me. I think Morjon's also in a good spot tonight too for GPP. So he's one. Morjon's not a bad pitcher here, and we don't have much to
Yep.
go by. So, but if I play Morjon GP, I also might hedge and run back. Austin Slater's in a good spot. He's a righty. He hits lefties leading off tonight
Yeah, the Giants
for the
have some guys
Giants.
that hit lefties pretty well. So certainly a solid GPP stack. And as always, White Sox against lefties. Always love it. Hurts a little bit with no Timmy, but they still got a couple guys that just mash lefties. So last thing real quick, any prize picks plays that you like tonight?
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
I know I actually almost forgot about it. And I'm wearing a prize pick shirt. Shame on me.
Uh, did it change from? Hold on, let me look here. I'm I'm glad you said it because I have yesterday's prize picks up on the article.
Oh, I think Mercedes coming in at
Merce-
6, batting fifth.
Mercedes, yep.
Nice. Or I'm sorry, yeah, he comes in at 6. That's a nice number. The way he's been playing up in the order.
Mike Yastrzemski. I mean, he's lefty on lefty, but man, that's pretty low. And Yastrzemski has 6'5".
You got Longo at 6 right next to him.
Let me see Longo. Oh, I didn't even see. Yeah, definitely Longoria over 6. There's your play. I didn't see Longoria. Longoria
Yep,
over 6. 100%. I just saw somebody else. What about Matt Chapman? I mean, Dustin May's not going to more than 5 innings. Chapman at a 6. I mean, I think Chapman's a GPP play, definitely. We didn't even mention him. So I mean, it would be Longoria, I guess. I would go
yeah.
Longoria, Mercedes.
Yeah, but I think those are probably fairly safe plays on the board here.
Pitching's a tough one, man. If anyone, I would probably run Pivetta over 21.5. I was going to run a pitcher.
I mean, it's one thing about prize picks. Their numbers are pretty darn good. Almost always.
They're definitely tight. Yeah,
yeah,
their
they know
pitching's
what they're
tight
doing.
tonight.
Yeah, pitching looks. You could ride Rodon here over 25. Hope that what we saw in spring training is what we get. We talked about it before. This dude's uber talented. It's been around for a while now, so that's a number he could probably get here. But yeah, that's tough. Those are tough numbers. Like the Mercedes car, Longoria.
Chris Duffy just mentioned Mays, but the problem with Mays is we don't know how many innings we're going to get out of him. You know how the Dodgers are, especially this early in the year.
Yeah, they'll be quick to pull guys, so they don't
exactly.
They don't need to. They know they don't need it, so.
And I would run Mays as my second pitcher tonight if I knew that we're gonna get a full game out of him. So I mean, I don't mind May. I just don't know how far he's gonna go.
Yep. It's gonna be really tough for the Dodgers all year long. So, all right, you got anything else?
No, that's it. We saw 3 times. What's slack? 7:05 tonight or 7:10? Now the 7:10 stuff's been confusing me. All last week it was 7:10. So
I think we got 7:10.
It's 7. It's 7. Nope, it's 7:05.
Yep. So
I like the 7:10 better.
Updating the cheat here in a minute. I'm gonna finalize the NBA cheat sheet, and then we'll update MLB, and you guys will be good. Tomorrow we will have another live show. At the moment, it's just going to be me. If that is the case, I will make it a special cheat sheet edition. We'll go over the cheat sheet, talk about how to use it for each site. I'll try to get the actual cheat sheet streaming on the stream with me, so I can literally go through with you, show you what it is. So if I get somebody with me, we'll do the normal, but if not, that will be what we will do tomorrow. And with that being said, good luck, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, good luck, guys.